The American dream isn't about success. It's about winning. Even when the prize is a lifetime supply of tacos and the cost is your last shred of dignity. We've gathered 101 stories that prove the relentless pursuit of victory knows no bounds. This isn't about healthy competition. It's a showcase of pure, unfiltered ambition, where the line between genius and insanity was completely erased for a shot at glory. And sometimes, just a t-shirt. 1. Let's start with a classic test of will. The hands on a hardbody contest. The premise is simple. Whoever keeps their hand on a new pickup truck the longest wins it. The reality? A multi-day descent into madness fueled by sleep deprivation, hallucinations, and losing your mind in a Texas parking lot. People have dropped out because they thought the truck was talking to them. 2. In 1984, an ice cream truck driver named Michael Larson didn't play the game show Press Your Luck. He broke it. He spent months memorizing the random patterns of the game board on his VCR. He then flew to Hollywood, got on the show, and hit the big money squares 45 consecutive times, walking away with over $100,000 in cash and prizes. The network was so stunned they initially refused to pay. 3. A radio station in Sacramento thought a water drinking contest called Hold Your Wii for a Wii was a brilliant idea. Contestants had to drink enormous amounts of water without using the bathroom to win a Nintendo Wii console. It ended in tragedy when a woman died from water intoxication, leading to a $16 million lawsuit. It's a horrifying reminder that some prizes are definitely not worth it. 4. Imagine winning a perfect, life-sized, fully furnished replica of the Simpsons house from the cartoon. In 1997, a factory worker from Kentucky won just that. The catch? The neighborhood association's rules meant that if he wanted to actually live there, the entire house, originally painted in 25 different vibrant cartoon colors, had to be repainted a boring, uniform beige. 5. Jerry and Marge Selby, a retired couple from Michigan, didn't just get lucky playing the lottery, they figured out a mathematical loophole in the state's windfall game. When the jackpot reached a certain point without a winner, the prize money would roll down to smaller prize tiers. They realized that by buying enough tickets at that specific time, they were statistically guaranteed to win. They made millions. 6. In the late 1950s, a man who called himself Digger Odell won multiple contests by being buried alive. He would be interred in a custom coffin for days, sometimes weeks, with pipes for air and food. He even had a dirt-conditioned phone line to call radio stations from his 6-foot-deep home, making him a bizarre but undeniable local celebrity. 7. A Florida amusement park once ran a bizarre endurance contest called Lips of Steel. The goal was to keep your lips locked on a frozen metal pole for as long as possible. Contestants stood for hours, mouths fused to a sub-zero cylinder, while parkgoers laughed and took photos. The winner didn't just get frostbite and bragging rights. They won a season pass and a special plaque mounted right on the pole they nearly froze to. 8. To celebrate National Math Day, a bank offered $5,000 to whoever could crack a set of cryptic equations hidden across their website and ads. The winner, a high school teacher, solved it in under an hour using techniques he once taught to bored students. His reward? A 5-minute interview on local news and a tax form that made him wish he'd never opened Excel. 9. The ultimate endurance test for some was simply staying put. In the early 1980s, a man from Pennsylvania won a contest to live inside a small container attached to a billboard for 261 days. He endured blistering heat and freezing cold, all for the grand prize of a mobile home and some cash. 10. Competitive eating champion. Joey Chestnut doesn't just eat 76 hot dogs in 10 minutes by chewing fast. He has a technique. He uses the Solomon method, which involves splitting the frankfurter in half before eating it. He also dunks the buns in water to make them slide down easier. It's less of a meal and more of a brutal scientific demolition of food. 11. Ever heard of pole sitting? For decades, it was a bizarre national craze. The goal? Sit on a tiny platform atop a flagpole for as long as humanly possible. Men would spend weeks up there, becoming local heroes for doing absolutely nothing, just in public. And the prize for this feat of extreme boredom? Sometimes a car, but often just bragging rights and a sore backside. 12. In the 1990s, Hoover vacuum cleaners in the UK ran a promotion that was pure, unfiltered chaos. The deal was simple. Buy about 100 pounds worth of their products and get 2 free round-trip flights to the United States. They were so overwhelmed with applicants that the company ended up losing nearly 50 million pounds and almost imploded. A perfect example of a contest so good, it destroyed the company that offered it. 13. How much do you love breakfast? Enough to make it a permanent part of your identity. A guy from Illinois won a contest for free, Denny's Grand Slams for life. His winning move? He got a tattoo of the restaurant's logo on his arm. It wasn't even a small, subtle tattoo. It was a full-color, undeniable tribute to cheap eggs and pancakes forever inked on his body. 14. A radio station in Florida held a contest where the prize was a brand new Hummer. The method to win? Be the last person to stop kissing it. Not hugging it, not touching it. Kissing it. For hours on end, people were locked in a slobbery embrace with a massive gas-guzzling SUV under the hot Florida sun. How badly do you have to want a car to give it a 48-hour hickey? 15. The cautionary tale of Jack Whitaker is legendary. In 2002, this West Virginia construction boss won a staggering $315 million Powerball jackpot. He then proceeded to lose it all in the most spectacular ways imaginable. From having $500,000 in cash stolen from his car at a strip club to countless lawsuits and personal tragedies. He proved that winning the biggest prize can sometimes be the absolute worst thing that happens to you. 16. Winning a high-stakes fishing tournament seems straightforward, right? Catch the biggest fish. Well, 2 guys in Ohio decided to skip that part. They won a nearly $30,000 prize by stuffing their fish with lead weights and extra fish fillets to make them heavier. They were caught when the tournament director dramatically cut the fish open in front of a furious crowd. They went from champions to criminals in about 10 seconds. 17. Welcome to the world of competitive spam carving, an actual event at many state fairs. Artists take a cold, gelatinous block of canned mystery meat and turn it into art. You'll see everything from spam-based animals to historical figures. It's a contest where your artistic medium has a shelf life of forever, and your hands smell like a weird deli for days. 18. A Las Vegas casino once held a last man standing contest with a twist. Contestants had to stand inside a small painted circle with one 15-minute break every 3 hours. The winner stood there for over 80 hours straight. That's more than 3 full days on your feet in a casino, just to win a car. Can you even imagine the hallucinations? 19. The U.S. Air Guitar Championships are a serious business. Competitors are judged on technical merit, stage presence, and airness. The elusive quality of transcending imitation and creating pure, invisible rock and roll. People train for this. They have coaches. And they do it all for a trophy and a flight to the World Championships in Finland to compete with an instrument that doesn't exist. 20. In 1993, Pepsi in the Philippines made a tiny printing error in their bottle cap contest that resulted in hundreds of thousands of people winning the grand prize of 1 million pesos. When Pepsi refused to pay, riots broke out, trucks were burned, and multiple people died. It all started because they printed the number 349 on too many caps. 21. The Iowa State Fair hosts a husband calling contest. Yes, really. Women get on stage and unleash the most powerful, creative, and ear-splitting yells they can muster to summon their imaginary husbands from afar. The winners are judged on volume, clarity, and originality. It's a celebration of a very specific and very public domestic skill. 22. For years, the online casino goldenpalace.com won free advertising by paying people to do insane things. One woman was paid $15,000 to legally tattoo their web address on her forehead for life. Others legally changed their names to goldenpalace.com. What's your price for turning your face into a permanent billboard? 23. California is home to the annual World's Ugliest Dog Contest, a prestigious event where looking like a mess is the whole point. Owners proudly show off their snaggle-toothed, bug-eyed, hairless companions, competing for a trophy and a cash prize. It's the one contest in the world where you win by having the least photogenic friend imaginable. 24. In the 90s, the Mall of America held a contest where 4 people had to live inside the mall for 3 weeks. They had tiny glass-walled apartments set up in the main rotunda. turning their entire lives into a public spectacle. Thousands of shoppers would just stand there and watch them eat, sleep, and slowly lose their minds. The prize for becoming a human zoo exhibit? A new car. 25. The Red Bull. Flug Tag is a contest where teams build their own homemade, human-powered flying machines and launch them off a 30-foot ramp into the water. The secret is, nobody is trying to fly. The real competition is to see who can build the most absurd-looking contraption and have the most spectacular, hilarious crash. It's a contest where winning means failing beautifully. 26. What's the most dangerous sport in the world? Forget MMA. England has something far more reckless: cheese chasing. Once a year, crowds gather to sprint down a nearly vertical hill after a rolling 9-pound wheel of double Gloucester. It's chaos. People flip, crash, and dislocate joints like rag dolls launched by gravity. The prize for hurling yourself down nature's meat grinder? The very cheese that tried to kill you. 27. In 1996, Taco Bell ran a promotional stunt involving the Taco Liberty Bell, a fake claim that they'd purchased the Liberty Bell. A man from Missouri spotted the first promotional item and won free Taco Bell for life. That means unlimited tacos, burritos, and Crunchwrap Supremes. Forever. What started as a joke turned into a lifetime supply of sodium. At some point, even the boldest stomach has to ask, was it worth it? 28. One teenager asked Wendy's how many retweets he'd need to score free chicken nuggets for a year. The fast food chain jokingly said 18 million. That's all the internet needed. His tweet exploded, becoming the most retweeted post ever at the time. He didn't reach the number, but Wendy's caved and gave him the nuggets anyway. So yes, sometimes tweeting nonsense does feed you. 29. Rock, paper, scissors might sound like a playground game, but in the US, there's a televised championship with a $50,000 grand prize. Yes, people train. They develop psychological profiles. They study patterns. One finalist was famous for his fast-throwing paper. But in the end, he lost to a guy who just kept throwing rock, every single round. Sometimes the dumbest strategy is the deadliest. 30. A man named David Phillips discovered a loophole in a healthy choice promotion. Buy 10 frozen meals, get 1,000 frequent flyer miles. But he realized that individual pudding cups counted too, and were dirt cheap. He bought over 12,000 of them, earning more than 1 million miles. The media dubbed him the Pudding Guy. He didn't just win a contest, he hacked the skies with dessert. 31. Every year, digital artists from around the world compete in a contest where the goal is to create the ugliest, worst, most eye-searing image possible. Welcome to the digital landfill, where bad taste is good strategy. Think pixel vomit, cursed gradients, and fonts that shouldn't exist. The prize? Eternal bragging rights for being the best, at failing on purpose. It's the Oscars of aesthetic pain. 32. The North American Wife Carrying Championship is a real thing. Men run obstacle courses while carrying women upside down on their backs using a move called the Estonian carry. The winner gets the woman's weight in beer and a cash prize. She doesn't even have to be his wife. Just someone willing to cling to his spine while he leaps over logs. True romance comes with bruises. 33. For a movie promotion, one unlucky guy was paid to live inside Chicago's O'Hare Airport for a week. He had a sleeping bag, no privacy, and access only to airport food and bathroom sinks. He wore branded clothing like a walking billboard and became a living mall exhibit for exhausted travelers. The worst part? It looked suspiciously like an unpaid internship in purgatory. 34. In Florida, a bug-eating contest dared contestants to devour live cockroaches for a cash prize. These weren't small bugs either. They were palm-sized monsters that sounded like potato chips when bitten. One unlucky man collapsed and died shortly after competing, possibly from choking. Turns out you can die trying to be Florida Man of the Year. 35. There's a global competition among inventors to build the most outrageously useless machines possible. These are complex, over-engineered devices that exist solely to complete simple tasks in the dumbest way imaginable, like flipping a switch just to turn themselves off. No prize money, Just admiration from people who see the beauty in building a $300 contraption to do what your finger could. 36. In the 1980s, a radio station gave away 1 acre of land on the moon. Legally speaking, it was just a novelty deed. No shuttle, no ownership rights, no actual way to set foot on your prize. But technically, one man became a lunar landowner. He can't visit, develop, or even prove it's his. But he does own a piece of a place no human can reach. It's the perfect metaphor for the modern dream. 37. The Air Sex World Championships are real. Fully clothed participants take the stage, pick a song, and act out absurd, interpretive performances of invisible intimacy. They're judged on charisma, choreography, and something called commitment. The crowd? Half confused, half amazed. It's performance art, it's cringe comedy, it's whatever happens when no one says, maybe don't do that. 38. At an art fair in Colorado, an AI-generated image won first place over works painted by actual humans. The creator simply typed prompts into a tool called Midjourney and printed the result. Furious artists cried foul. He didn't paint, draw, or even touch a stylus. But he did win. Whether you call it the future of art or the end of it, depends on how long you spent on your own entry. 39. Every year in Scotland, grown adults gather for the World Stone Skimming Championship. They hunt for perfect flat rocks, fine-tune their throwing technique, and aim for maximum skips across water. There's no big payout, just a tiny trophy and eternal bragging rights. It's the Olympics of childhood nostalgia and shoulder injuries. 40. A radio station once promised a new house to whoever got the best kiss tattoo. A mother and daughter both went under the needle with full band logos. The daughter won the house. The mom? She got a permanent tattoo of Gene Simmons's face and absolutely nothing else. The family that tattoos together doesn't always win together. 41. Every year, a company offers the Stuck at Prom scholarship. The challenge? Create your entire prom outfit, dresses, tuxedos, corsages, out of nothing but duct tape. We're talking hundreds of hours and dozens of rolls to create wearable art. The prize? $10,000 for college. It's the one contest where being completely wrapped up in your work actually pays off. 42. Welcome to the International Cherry Pit Spitting Championship, where grown adults compete to see who can launch a piece of fruit garbage the farthest. Competitors have secret techniques for tongue placement and air pressure, treating it like an Olympic sport. You train for months, perfect your form, and become a champion by being slightly better at spitting than everyone else. 43. In the 1970s, a margarine brand tried to name its new product by hosting a public contest. The winner? Butternator. They printed it on 1 million labels before realizing it sounded like a robotic dairy assassin. Sales tanked, stores pulled the product, and the marketing team learned the hard way. Why not every public vote should become permanent packaging? 44. In Kansas, a local zoo ran a Live Like a Lemur contest. The winner had to spend 10 days inside a simulated jungle habitat with no phone, no bed, and nothing but raw fruit and leaves for food. Curious visitors gawked through the glass while the contestants struggled to sleep on branches. The prize? A year-long zoo membership and an honorary banana with their name carved into it. 45. On The Price is Right, a contestant stunned the world by bidding the exact dollar amount of the final showcase, a feat that had almost never happened. Host Drew Carey suspected cheating. The truth? His wife had been obsessively watching the show, memorizing the price of every single item that appeared. It wasn't luck. It was weaponized spousal support. 46. All across America, restaurants host ghost pepper challenges. The rules are simple. Eat something drenched in one of the hottest substances known to man and survive. The prize for enduring this self-inflicted chemical burn? Usually a free t-shirt and your picture on a wall of flame. You trade an hour of agonizing pain for a cotton souvenir that says, "I have terrible judgment." 47. In a truly horrifying turn of events, a radio station in Indiana gave away a used car as a grand prize. The lucky winner drove it home, only to discover a foul smell coming from the trunk. Inside, the decaying body of the car's previous owner. She didn't just win a contest, she won a free vehicle that was also an active crime scene. 48. Some communities have taken a Thanksgiving staple and turned it into a bizarre sport. Frozen turkey bowling. Contestants slide a rock-solid, ice-cold turkey down a lane to knock over pins. It's slippery, messy, and deeply undignified. The prize for mastering this poultry-based pastime? Usually a gift card to the very grocery store the turkey came from. 49. The late, great Billy Mays didn't win a single contest. He was the contest. He spent his entire career in a one-man shouting match against consumer indifference, using his booming voice and iconic blue shirt to sell everything from cleaning products to glue. His prize wasn't a trophy, it was billions in sales, proving that if you're loud enough for long enough, America will eventually buy what you're selling. 50. In the 1970s, JCPenney ran a promotion with peel-off buttons where certain codes won prizes. One code was worth $500. Due to a monumental printing error, they accidentally produced millions of winning buttons. They had to honor every single one, turning a fun giveaway into a corporate financial disaster. It was a contest where everyone won, which is a company's worst nightmare. 51. Before the internet, one man won a radio call-in contest by becoming a human algorithm. He spent months documenting the exact number of rings before the host would pick up. He'd then dial in at the perfect moment day after day, winning small cash prizes. He dedicated his life to winning a game of telephone, becoming a local hero for his glorious, pointless obsession. 52. The world beard and mustache. Championships aren't about who has the longest facial hair. It's about who can turn their face into a work of art. Men spend months crafting their beards into surreal sculptures. Loops, stars, and gravity-defying spikes held together with a gallon of hairspray. It's where raw masculinity meets delicate arts and crafts. 53. In 2016, a contest in New York City offered a single prize: the chance to have a one-on-one staring contest with the famously intense artist Marina Abramović. The winner got no money, no trophy, just the privilege of sitting opposite a legend and trying not to blink. It's the only contest where the grand prize is an uncomfortably long, silent moment of eye contact. 54. Netflix once offered a $1 million prize to any team that could improve their movie recommendation algorithm by just 10%. It sparked a global war among data scientists. After 3 years of brutal competition, the winning team submitted their solution just 20 minutes before a rival team submitted an equally effective one. They won $1 million by a photo finish in a war fought entirely with code. 55. A man named Paul Hunn holds the Guinness World Record for the loudest burp, clocking in at over 109 decibels, louder than a rock concert. He trained for this. He perfected a technique for swallowing air to maximize volume. His prize? A certificate and the undeniable honor of being the best in the world at something your mother would send you to your room for. 56. For over a decade, Americans believed they had a fair shot at winning the McDonald's Monopoly game. The reality? An ex-cop who ran security for the printing company was stealing all the winning pieces and selling them to a network of fake winners. He orchestrated a $24 million fraud ring, turning a beloved national contest into his own personal ATM. 57. At the Texas State Fair, there's a lesser-known but highly competitive event: jalapeno juggling. Competitors must keep 3 scorching peppers in the air while answering trivia questions. The trick? Not accidentally bite down mid-throw. The prize isn't just a trophy, it's the chance to say you survived flaming produce warfare with your dignity and taste buds intact. 58. How much is your sanity worth? For contestants in a Mr. Beast video, it was $500,000. The challenge: be the last person to take your hand off a giant block of cash. It wasn't about strength. It was a multi-day psychological war against boredom, sleep deprivation, and the other people slowly losing their minds right next to you. 59. There's an entire competition dedicated to people who can perfectly imitate bird songs, using only their own mouths. The National Wild Turkey Federation holds a calling contest where grown men and women make disturbingly accurate gobbling sounds to impress judges. It's a contest celebrating a skill that's incredibly impressive and almost completely useless outside of one very specific room. 60. Imagine winning a contest where the prize is a 6-figure salary to have the best job in the world. An Australian tourism board offered just that. hiring a chief funster to travel the country and party. The catch? The entire job was being a walking, talking advertisement, where every moment of fun was meticulously documented for a global PR campaign. 61. The shortest and perhaps most brutal contest in literary history is the 6-word story challenge. While its origins are debated, the most famous winning entry is attributed to Ernest Hemingway. For sale, baby shoes, never worn. It proves you can win a contest and break everyone's heart in less than a dozen syllables. 62. Thousands of Americans now willingly pay over $100 for the privilege of running through freezing mud, climbing over walls, and getting deliberately electrocuted by dangling wires. It's called an obstacle course race. The prize for finishing this designer suffering? A banana, a cheap medal, and the right to post a muddy selfie online. You literally win by surviving something you paid to endure. 63. For over 100 years, the star artist at the Iowa State Fair isn't a painter, but a butter sculptor. One person is chosen to lock themselves in a 40-degree cooler and carve a life-sized cow from 600 pounds of pure butter. The prize is fame that lasts exactly as long as the sculpture does before it melts. 64. One woman on The Price is Right won her way to the final showcase, guessed the price with incredible accuracy, and in a moment of pure ecstatic joy, she ran toward the stage, tripped, and completely wiped out on national television. She still won the prizes, but her real victory was becoming an immortal meme of clumsy celebration. 65. How does Netflix ensure its platform never crashes? By running a permanent internal contest to see who can break it the most effectively. They have a program called Chaos Monkey that randomly disables their own servers. Engineers compete to find new, more devastating ways for it to cause havoc, all to find weaknesses before they become real problems. Winning means being the best at sabotage. 66. A retired teacher in Oregon won a snack stadium challenge, where contestants built miniature football arenas entirely out of junk food. His entry used Slim Jims for bleachers and guacamole for the field. He took home a year's supply of Fritos and a golden nacho trophy. His house now smells like a Super Bowl party that never ends. 67. Most marathons celebrate finishing. The Barkley Marathons in Tennessee celebrates failure. It's a 100-mile race so brutal and confusing that in over 35 years, only about 15 people have ever finished. Contestants navigate with a map and compass to find hidden books and tear out pages. The grand prize for this hellish ordeal? Absolutely nothing but survival. 68. A Hooters waitress won a contest promising a new Toyota. When she went to collect her prize, they presented her with a Toy Yoda, a Star Wars doll. She wasn't amused. She sued the restaurant for deceptive advertising, and the court agreed, forcing them to pay her enough money to buy any actual car she wanted. 69. A classic 90s radio stunt involved asking listeners, "What's the most degrading thing you'll do for concert tickets?" One man won by letting the DJs shave his head and eyebrows live on air. He walked away with 2 front-row seats and 0 facial hair, forcing him to explain to his boss the next day that his new look was an act of profound musical devotion. 70. One of the most intense contests ever wasn't for money. It was a silent war of attrition between 2 roommates to see who could last longer without taking out the trash. The garbage piled up into a monolithic tower of filth, testing the limits of their friendship and their immune systems. The prize? The smug satisfaction of not having to do a chore, won at the cost of living in a biohazard. 71. Forget NASCAR. In states like Michigan and Washington, America has invented a far more essential form of motorsport: outhouse racing. Teams build a fully decorated wooden outhouse, mount it on skis, and have one person sit inside while the others push it down a snowy track. We're talking custom-built latrines with themes, costumes, and names like the Royal Flush. The prize for being the fastest potty pusher on the mountain. A golden toilet seat trophy and a year's worth of bragging rights. 72. In the 1980s, a man named James the Head Stern figured out that it was statistically cheaper to fly to different cities to enter radio contests than to stay home. He developed a system for tracking high-value prizes, becoming a professional contest winner. He once won a new Porsche, and then immediately won another one from a different station the very next day. 73. Welcome to the world of lawnmower racing, a real American motorsport. Competitors strip down regular riding mowers, remove the blades, and soup up the engines to hit speeds of over 60 miles per hour. They have sponsors, pit crews, and national championships. It's what happens when suburban dads get bored with just cutting the grass. 74. In 2011, a man won a year's supply of free burritos from Chipotle. To maximize his prize, he did the math. The prize was defined as one burrito per day. So, for 365 days, he went to Chipotle and ordered a burrito with double everything, including extra tortillas on the side. He turned each free meal into 2 massive meals, effectively hacking his prize to get twice the value. 75. A TV station in the 90s ran a contest to see who could sit in a bathtub full of baked beans the longest. The winner, a college student, endured the lukewarm, gelatinous nightmare for over 100 hours. The prize for becoming human soup for 4 days? A new car. And probably a lifelong aversion to barbecue. 76. There's a competitive event called creative grooming, where dog groomers turn poodles into living sculptures. They don't just give them a haircut. They dye their fur and style them to look like other animals, cartoon characters, or even entire fantasy landscapes. It's a contest where your canvas is alive, fluffy, and very confused. 77. A guy in San Francisco won a local radio contest by legally changing his name to God. He had to go through the whole court process, get a new driver's license, and explain to every bank teller that his first name was, in fact, God. The prize was minimal, but the victory was divine. How do you argue with a guy who has paperwork to prove it? 78. For a publicity stunt, KFC launched one of their sandwiches into the stratosphere using a high-altitude balloon. They held a contest where the first person to find the coupon attached to the fallen payload would win about $20,000. It created a modern-day treasure hunt where people use GPS and satellite data to chase down a piece of corporate chicken that had been to space. 79. The Pillsbury Bake-Off isn't just a friendly recipe swap. It's a culinary battleground with a $1 million grand prize. Contestants spend years developing the perfect casserole or cookie, guarding their recipes like state secrets. One winner was disqualified after it was discovered her original recipe was suspiciously similar to one already published in a cookbook. It was a scandal that rocked the world of competitive home cooking. 80. The sport of ferret legging is a true test of human endurance. The rules are simple. Tie your pants shut at the ankles, drop 2 live ferrets down your trousers, and see who can stand it the longest. The world record is over 5 hours. The prize for letting 2 notoriously bitey creatures run wild in your pants? Usually just a few pints and severe nerve damage. 81. A woman won a contest to be a human billboard for a tech company, agreeing to wear a t-shirt with their logo on it every single day for an entire year. No matter the occasion, weddings, funerals, job interviews, she had to wear it. The prize was $500. That's less than $1.50 a day to sell your soul, one cotton shirt at a time. 82. During the dot-com bubble, a startup held a contest where the grand prize was literally a stake in the company. The winner didn't get cash, he got stock options. For a few glorious weeks, he was a paper millionaire. Then the bubble burst, the company imploded, and his prize became completely, utterly worthless. 83. The World Sauna Championships in Finland were once a major international event. Competitors had to sit in a 230-degree Fahrenheit sauna, with water being added to the hot stones every 30 seconds. The contest was permanently canceled after the final round, in 2010, ended with the Russian finalists dying from severe burns and organ failure. 84. In the 1990s, a Florida man won a contest by being the first person to legally marry a complete stranger on a radio show. They met at the altar, said, "I do," and immediately filed for an annulment after collecting their prize money. It was a perfect, if deeply cynical, execution of a contest's rules. 85. To promote a new album, a band held a contest where a fan could win the chance to be the band's human roadie for a day. The winner thought he'd be hanging out backstage. Instead, he spent 14 hours hauling heavy equipment, tuning guitars, and getting yelled at by the tour manager. The prize was experiencing the least glamorous part of rock and roll firsthand. 86. The Great Depression created one of the cruelest spectator sports imaginable, the dance marathon. This wasn't a party. It was a human demolition derby where couples danced for weeks, fueled by desperation and black coffee. They would hold each other up while sleeping on their feet, all for a cash prize. You won not by being the best dancer, but by being the last person to collapse from pure exhaustion. 87. Every year, a Midwestern town hosts the Creamed Mystery Bake-Off, an unapologetic festival of questionable slow cooker cuisine. Judges rate entries by texture, smell, and emotional impact. One year, a contestant entered a tuna jello pie topped with cold tater tots. It won Best in Show. The prize? A golden ladle and an intervention from the county health inspector. 88. There's a special kind of race that happens every year in Seward, Alaska called Mount Marathon. The goal is to run up and then back down a 3,022-foot mountain. It's not a trail run. It's a near vertical scramble up mud and shale, followed by a barely controlled fall back down. People finish bleeding, broken, and covered in dirt. They do it for the glory of conquering a mountain that actively tried to kill them. 89. The producers of the show Fear Factor had to constantly invent new ways to torture people for $50,000. One of the most psychologically brutal challenges didn't involve eating bugs. Contestants were strapped into a barber chair while thousands of spiders were poured over their heads. The challenge wasn't to endure pain, but to suppress the primal instinct to scream and run away. 90. The Scripps National Spelling Bee is America's ultimate intellectual contest for kids. In 2021, the competition was so fierce that they literally ran out of difficult words. For the first time ever, they had to declare 8 co-champions because the kids were just too smart for the dictionary. They didn't just win. They broke the entire game. 91. Every year, thousands of people compete in the U.S. National Dog Surfing Championships in California. Yes, you heard that right. Dogs on surfboards, judged for their style, confidence, and ability to ride a wave. The owners are just the caddies. It's a contest where the true champion might just be chasing a squirrel in their mind while accidentally winning a gold medal. 92. A real estate company once offered a free haunted mansion in Louisiana to whoever could write the best essay about why they deserved it. The catch? The house was genuinely believed to be cursed, with a history of tragedy and paranormal activity. The prize wasn't just a house, it was a permanent roommate you couldn't see and could never evict. 93. Waiting in line has become a competitive sport. For every major release of an iPhone or a new video game console, people camp out for days, sometimes weeks. The first person in line often gets their prize for free from the company. The real victory, however, is being on the local news, looking exhausted but triumphant, having defeated your greatest enemy, everyone else who wanted the shiny new thing. 94. For a contest, Mountain Dew once let the internet choose the name for a new green apple-infused flavor. The internet, being the internet, overwhelmingly voted for names like Hitler Did Nothing Wrong and Diabetes. The company quickly shut the contest down, learning a valuable lesson: never, ever trust the public with naming rights. 95. A man from Seattle won a contest to have his favorite band, the Foo Fighters, play a private concert. He expected a small club show. Instead, the band showed up at his tiny one-bedroom apartment. They crammed their entire setup into his living room, blew out his speakers, and played a full-volume rock show that probably got him evicted. 96. Some contests are won not with skill, but with pure, unadulterated pettiness. A man in Virginia won a neighborhood Christmas decoration contest by simply putting up one giant, illuminated sign on his lawn with an arrow pointing to his neighbor's house that read, "I agree, his is better." 97. In a small town in Oregon, the position of mayor was once decided by a coin toss after the election ended in a perfect tie. After months of campaigning, debates, and shaking hands, the entire democratic process came down to a 50-50 chance. It's the one contest where your political future can be decided by the same method you use to see who pays for lunch. 98. A Texas man claimed he won a lottery jackpot of $7.5 million. He did interviews, posed for photos, and even started spending the money. The problem? He never actually bought a ticket. He just printed a fake one on his computer. He won the title of lottery winner for about 48 hours before being arrested for fraud. 99. There's a competition called Extreme Kazoo Mastery, where musicians perform full symphonies using only kazoos and style. Contestants dress in tuxedos or costumes, adding theatrics to their buzzing renditions of Bach and Queen. The top scorer wins a custom gold kazoo and eternal fame in one of the strangest musical subcultures on Earth. 100. For years, a single man from New York dominated the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. His name was not Joey Chestnut. It was an urban legend, a mysterious figure who supposedly won year after year in the early 1900s. The company later admitted they completely made him up to generate publicity. The greatest eating champion in their early history never even existed. 1. And what might be the most common contest in America? The office raffle. After all the epic stories of pain, endurance, and genius, millions of Americans still eagerly enter their name for the chance to win the ultimate grand prize: a slightly stale gift basket with a branded coffee mug and some expired crackers. 101 stories of glorious, questionable victory. But it all boils down to one very uncomfortable question about the American soul. Who do you respect more? The person who works their whole life for a living, or the guy who figures out how to win 1,000,000 airline miles by buying pudding cups? Let me know your honest answer in the comments. And if you enjoyed this descent into madness, hitting like and subscribing is the best way to ensure we keep digging.